Jus in Bello, Justice in War, Section 4. Welcome back, everyone. In our last lecture, we examined jus ad bellum, the criteria that determine whether it is just to go to war in the first place. Today, we move into the second great pillar of just war theory, jus in bello, or justice in war. This section asks a different but equally important question. Once war has begun, how should it be conducted? Even if a war has a just cause, it can still be fought in profoundly unjust ways. Jus in bello sets the moral rules that govern the behavior of soldiers, generals, and states during conflict. Why jus in bello matters history shows us that once war begins, it can spiral out of control, leading to massacres, atrocities, and immense suffering. Jus in bello exists to restrain the destructiveness of war. It is about limiting force, protecting human dignity, and preserving some measure of morality in the midst of violence. Without such restraints, war becomes total destruction, where anything goes. With them, war, while still tragic, at least recognizes that even enemies are human beings. Core principles of jus in bello 1. Proportionality. Violence must be proportional to the objectives pursued. The use of force should never cause more harm than necessary to achieve legitimate military goals. Examples of violations: scorched earth policies, indiscriminate bombings, the use of torture, or weapons of mass destruction. The moral logic here: war cannot justify cruelty for its own sake. 2. Discrimination, non-combatant immunity. Perhaps the most important principle: distinguish between combatants and non-combatants. Soldiers, military bases, and weapons are legitimate targets. Civilians, medics, children, prisoners, and those who surrender are not. Ancient traditions in Christianity, Judaism, and Islam all reinforce this. The innocent must be spared. This principle continues today in international humanitarian law and the Geneva Conventions. 3. Good faith. While not always listed as a formal criterion, Augustine and later thinkers stressed the need for good faith in war. This means honoring treaties, respecting truces, and keeping promises made during conflict. Even enemies deserve honesty and fair treatment when agreements are reached. Tensions of conduct in war. One of the hardest truths about jus in bello is this: a war may be just in cause, jus ad bellum, but unjust in conduct, jus in bello. For example, a defensive war may be justified, but if it is waged with indiscriminate bombing or atrocities, it becomes morally corrupted. Conversely, even soldiers on the unjust side of a war remain morally bound by jus in bello. These rules apply to everyone, regardless of the justice of their cause. Religious contributions to jus in bello Christianity, Augustine and Aquinas, emphasize proportionality and sparing the innocent. Judaism, Rashi and Maimonides, limited conduct of war, do not harm civilians, preserve fruit trees, offer peace before battle. Islamic law, classical jurists, prohibited killing women, children, monks, and the elderly, stressed humane treatment of captives. Across all these traditions, one message stands out: war must never erase humanity. Modern applications today: jus in bello shapes global law. The Geneva Conventions explicitly protect civilians, regulate treatment of prisoners, and ban certain weapons. War crimes: tribunals prosecute violations of jus in bello. Contemporary debates, such as drone strikes, cyber warfare, and autonomous weapons, are evaluated by these same principles of proportionality and discrimination. Closing reflections. So, to summarize Section 4, proportionality demands restraint in the use of force. Discrimination requires us to protect civilians and non-combatants. Good faith reminds us that even in conflict, honor and trust matter. Jus in bello shows us that war, however tragic, cannot suspend morality. Even in the chaos of battle, human dignity must remain at the center. In our next lecture, we will broaden the picture to see how Augustine's theology and later thinkers developed just war theory further, and how different religious traditions interpreted these principles.